Matt Sperling played at Pro Tour Magic 2015 in Portland. Not the exact same list because there are 4 Sacred Founders here where Sperling did only play 3.
Yep, that's a big deal.
And he chose to do that, I promise you that. So we are underway here in round number 8. A Mutavault is where Kemple will begin. Again, the creatures here are Young Pyromancer and Chandra's Phoenix, and then a bevy of burn spells. And the plan is to basically, have a skull crack for the Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah.
Among other things. Get the party started here with the Young Pyromancer. We'll see if this resolves, and it does. So Manfield doesn't know exactly, I imagine, what he's up against just yet, but he'll find out very soon.
Yeah. I mean, Seth's deck is pretty normal also, except he has 4 copies of Last Breath and only 2 copies of Azorius Charm. And since he is down a cycler, he does run 27 land, where I think most blue-white decks stick with just the tried and true 26.
Manfield will play a Detention Sphere, get that thing off the table before passing the turn back over to Kemple. So Kemple will draw. See a mountain in his hand. He also has a Magma Jet here, and now there's a Chandra's Phoenix. So now I think Seth probably knows, as the Rebel red deck does not play either one of the cards that have been cast.
Yeah. You could certainly spice it up. Like the Rebel decks are very close to having enough spells for Young Pyromancer and close to having enough things for Chandra's Phoenix as well.
No 4-drop for Manfield. No Jace. As you see, there's not double blue, and no Supreme Verdict here either. So his mana's a little bit strange right now because he has 2, Mutavaults out there that maybe are messing things up.
Yeah, I mean, he does play the 4 full Mutavaults, but he also has 2 Syncopates that he could potentially cast right now, or an Azorius Charm, also acceptable.
That's going to go on top. See if Kemple wants to take the opportunity here to maybe resolve a 4 damage spell while Manfield shields are down. He's going to play a Battlefield Forge. He's just going to pass the turn back. Now, one card he does have in his hand is a Searing Blood. 3 copies of that in his deck. Not the best card in this matchup, as there's a Temple from Seth.
Yeah, certainly not, but since Seth does not have Elixir of Immortality, he's eventually going to have to kill Christopher with creatures, whether it be like Elspeth tokens or one of his 4 Mutavaults. He does have the 1 Aetherling, so if he finds that, maybe that'll be enough, and he'll never have to, put that in Searing Blood range.
Now, Kemple actually could have played, this Stoke the Flames when Seth didn't have access to blue mana, but he's playing it right now maybe with the thought of, I don't mind if you counter this, because I'd maybe like to try to resolve my Phoenix again.
Yeah, I mean, Syncopate is a card that is very, very good against Chandra's Phoenix, and maybe that is something that he is kind of scared of. And that's certainly reasonable. If you could bait out the Stoke, get the Syncopate out of Seth's hand, resolve the Phoenix.
We're going to fire up Mutavault, so now he's really trying to entice with Searing Blood, which I actually kind of like this. Especially because Seth only has 1 blue mana right now, so he doesn't have to worry about, like, Dissolve.
Right.
Or anything. It would just be Syncopate or maybe, like, a main deck Negate. And Seth is going to take 2. He says, all right, I'll go down to 12.
Yeah, I have to imagine that after this turn, it is Syncopate that Christopher is thinking about.
Now, the tough thing here for Kemple is the entire time that he kind of plays this game, he has to keep up appearances that he has Skullcrack.
Yeah.
Like right now, he could fire off a Magma Jet or a Lightning Strike on the end of Seth's turn, assuming Seth plays a land and just passes the turn back. But, is he okay with doing that?
Yeah, do you really want to do that and then let your opponent Revelation for 3?
Which basically undoes one of your cards.
Right. And, sets the stage for further bigger Revelations down the line.
Seth is going to go reaching for his mana here. Again, he has 5 lands in play, 2 Mutavaults, 2 Temple Enlightenments, and a Plains. This is 4 mana, so I imagine this is going to be a Jace.
Yeah.
That's going to tick down. So Manfield's going to turn over 3 cards. A Supreme Verdict, a Temple Enlightenment, and a Banishing Light. None of those cards are really very good in this matchup.
No, not really. I mean, Banishing Light is pretty good against the Phoenix that he knows that Kemple has. The extra land, I'm sure Seth could use, considering how awkwardly his mana was in the early turns. Supreme Verdict just kind of delays the inevitable with that Phoenix, though.
There is the 3rd Temple. Manfield going to scry here. And he will consult the grip before moving forward. Again, he did add Supreme Verdict and a Temple Enlightenment to his hand from that Jace. So, top goes to the bottom. Manfield will pass the turn back. So, the shields are down here for Seth, and Kemple says we're going upstairs with this Magma Jet. Puts you down to 10. And do a little scry action here. Lightning Strike and Searing Blood is what Christopher is looking at. Not sure if he wants either one of those cards. Strike is, Searing Blood is, I think, pretty obvious to the bottom.
Yeah.
Strike is a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not looking for Lightning Strike, what are you looking for, really?
Skullcrack mostly.
Sure.
I don't know if it's worth scrying Lightning Strike to the bottom and try to find one. We're going to get in for 4 here, and he's just says, you again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if he lets Seth untap, his creatures probably aren't going to be dealing very much damage, if any, really. You know, he just wants to get in the damage this turn and hopefully close the game the next 2 turns with a flurry of burn spells.
Do you like ignoring Jace?
I do, yeah, because, I mean, it lets Seth dig a little deeper into his deck if he wants to do that, but I also feel like the +1 is probably not worth it, and dealing Seth damage is way more important. You know, his Jace could also just brick.
Seth's got a whole lot of cards in his hand, but he knows that his life total is under duress right now. So will he tick up or down the Architect of Thought? We'll find that out. Does he have a Revelation and land to go with it, as it would be a Rev for 4 if that's the case?
Yeah, I think best case scenario for Seth at this point is untapped land, Revelation for 4, tick up Jace. Just try to prevent as much damage as possible, and then hopefully leverage the cards off you get from Revelation to not die on subsequent turns.
So there's a Rev for 3.
Yeah, so no untapped land, it looks like.
And if he's revving for a 3 right now, 1, I believe he's looking for a land, but 2, that means that Jace is going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Hallowed Fountain, and yeah, now Jace is going up. So Manfield is going to end the turn at 9. Kemple is going to untap. He's got 2 Lightning Strikes in his hand. He will draw a card. It's a copy of Skullcrack.
That's the one you wanted. It was right under the Lightning Strike.
It was under the Lightning Strike. An attack for 1. There's an interesting type of confidence here from Chris.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like he's been here before and knows what he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he sequenced everything really well, like both playing the Mutavault on turn 1, not replaying the Phoenix immediately after getting a charm, just getting in there with Mutavault, being like, hey, do you want to try and block? I got the Searing Blood.
And when talking with Sperling about him, you know, playing this deck at the Pro Tour, you know, part of the reason he selected Burn, he would just always felt like, you know, the best players don't ever play this deck. You know, how many matches would I have lost if when I was playing against Burn with Mono Black or whatever, if it was Paulo or Luis on the other side, where, you know, elite players are sequencing these spells correctly instead of maybe missing 1 or 2 points of damage or making incorrect reads on things.
Yeah,
he's like, I think I would lose a lot.
It adds up.
And this is the kind of deck where you can't afford to be incorrect, I believe, with your reads or your sequencing.
Yeah.
Because they will end the game at 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much a deck that gets them to exactly 0 or slightly before. This is not a deck that just kills you with sheer brute force and puts you to like -10.
Yeah.
You know, so a deck like Monsters can be very forgiving in that regard. But like the Burn deck, you gain a lot of your edge from doing everything correctly. And I think Kemple has very clearly demonstrated, even that this game has not gone on for very long, but like he understands what is going on.
A Supreme Verdict is going to trade with the Phoenix. This is a Lightning Strike. And we know that's not going towards Jace. He's been going upstairs the entire time, so he's going to keep doing that. The Phoenix is going to come back. I think we're going to see another Lightning Strike here. Yeah, and he's going to pay a life to do that.
Yeah.
Yep, so just will Seth go down to 2.
I think Seth at this point is in kind of a damned if I do, damned if I don't kind of situation. He probably knows that.
Which spell do I counter?
Yeah.
Because he's got to dissolve. All right, he's going to go down to 2. Kemple's going to draw a card. It's a mountain. So there's that. Is he going to fire at Mutavault? This is like the most interesting play to me, I think. Yeah, I like this a lot. Because even though it would only deal 1, like I think Seth might want to I think it can entice Seth to activate his Mutavault to want to block.
And then you have 2 lethal burn spells.
Yep.
Whereas if you play Phoenix, you can't kill him this turn.
Yep. So
you can if he doesn't have a counter spell, but
yeah. I actually like activating Mutavault a lot here. I want to see if okay, he's going to make this play. Yep, it seems so innocent. It's just an attack for 1, man.
And like, what is Seth going to do here, you know?
It's like innocent, but obvious.
Right.
Like what Kemple has. And that's what I think makes this like a really tough attack, because now Seth has to like figure out, okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Am I just supposed to take 1 and go to 1? is 1 different from 2 in this situation? And I actually don't think it is. But because Seth can be like, well, I can just like eat his guy.
Yeah, but why would he do that? You know,
Yeah.
Kemple 7-0. He's playing Burn. He's already demonstrated the ability to play around certain cards. You know, I just saw a Syncopate in Seth's hand that he almost certainly had. And
yeah, and so now he's going to say, okay, before it blocks, I'm going to Searing Blood this. And now this is obviously the disaster for Seth because he can only cast 1 counterspell.
Yeah, can't let the Searing Blood resolve because you lose. So I guess I have to dissolve it and then boom.
You. Yeah, that was a very well played game.
Yeah,
very, very well played game by Christopher Kemple.
Yeah, like you said, Kemple looked very confident, but I'm not sure if it was like confidence that he knew he was going to win, but it was like confidence that he knew what he was doing at least.
Yeah, like on every turn of that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say he played every turn perfectly because I don't like to say anyone's played a perfect game because like that's very hard to do.
It is.
But I think he played every turn of that game probably as well as you can. Like there was nothing there. I was like, man, I wouldn't have done that turn. Like I feel like he did everything right. And that's why he's up a game here over Seth Manfield. We're going to take a look at the sideboards there. You see Seth kind of shaking his head a little bit, maybe upset with himself. What's he got?
So most blue-white control decks have a decent package against Burn, and Seth is no different. He has 4 Nyx Fleece Ram, 2 Archangel of Thune, 2 Fiendslayer Paladins, and then he also has 2 Gainsay, 2 Dispel, a Fated Retribution, a Negate, and a Deicide. So Rams, Archangels, Fiendslayers, generally pretty good against Burn decks. Also cheaper counter spells, 2 Dispel, 1 Negate. I would have to imagine that those are at least under consideration to bring in, almost certainly coming in.
Do you like Archangel against the Stoke the Flames War Leaders Helix deck?
I mean, I thought I did, and then we saw Tom play earlier, and he just stoked 2 Archangels, and
Flock didn't board in his Archangels against Sperling.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, I did not know that.
They're gonna die.
I mean, I guess, but it's 5 mana, gain 4 life. Like, is that the worst thing you could be doing in the matchup? I mean, it depends on what you have to take out. This blue-white deck certainly has a lot of expensive spells.
All right, we'll see.
I don't know. We will see. I mean, Seth is the master. I'm very curious.
3 Chain of the Rocks, 3 Chandra Pyro Master, a Searing Blood, 4 Nyx Fleece Ram, and 4 copies of Satyr Fire Dancer. We're pretty close to a donut here. Like, I guess you could board out your 3 Searing Bloods to bring in your 3 Chandras.
Yeah, Chandra is good. I know that like Raptor and the rest of the CFB team like had Chandra in their sideboard specifically for blue-white.
Okay.
And I played Burn a little bit leading up to the WMCQ last weekend, and Chandra was very good. Like, I played one of my boards to try it out, and I played against blue-white in one of my first matches, and just like ramped it up to ultimate, used it, found a War Leader's Helix, and dealt them 12, and it allowed me to outpace the Nyx Fleece Ram also.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty important. Like, both in so that they can't block like your potential Mutavault or like elemental tokens or whatever, but it also just offsets the life gain.
Okay. I don't expect to see Christopher sideboard very much. I mean, the rest of the options are for other decks, clearly. I mean, Nyx Fleece Ram, Satyr Fire Dancer, Searing Blood, not for this matchup. One could argue Chain of the Rocks is okay against a deck that you know is going to bring in creatures.
Yeah.
But by and large, I don't expect to see a lot of changes. And he certainly looked comfortable in that first game. We'll see if he's comfortable in the next 2. And then Seth does finish sideboarding here. We will talk about our newest addition to our Creature Collection series. It is our good friend Squirrel Confidant, coming next weekend at our Season 3 Invitational in New Jersey. You do see the playmat, the dice bag, the deck box, the sleeves, and 2 Squirrel Confidant tokens. You will get those for entering a Legacy Open beginning next weekend.
I have a feeling that squirrel is up to something. Looks a little nefarious.
It's not the nicest squirrel we've ever had. We've had some pretty nice squirrels, Acorn Mystic among them, but this one's a little bit meaner.
Yeah, the Acorn Mystic it brings you gifts.
Now, I'm excited for, well, see, I don't know what's going to happen next year. I imagine we're going to keep adding to the Creature Collection line, and Patrick and I have talked about a dangerous animal series. You know, like a hippo attacking a boat, a shark attacking a boat. A lot we've come with is people being attacked on a boat. We haven't really expanded very much on that, but we could have the dangerous, I could see, you see the Creature Collection Squirrel series there?
Yeah.
I could just see like in red font, like kind of blood dripping, dangerous Creature Collection series, and then we maybe go from there. Again, contract negotiations, stuff like that. You really got to hammer that stuff out. The devil's in the details, as they say, but maybe next year.
What about Squirrel Goyf?
That's okay.
Attacking a boat.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, I'm in.
It's in there.
I'm in. Perfect. You can get those next year, but for this year, next weekend, you can get Squirrel Confidant series. Again, the dice bag, the playmat, the deck box, the sleeves, and 2 Squirrel Confidant tokens when you do join our Legacy Opens for the rest of the year beginning next weekend.
I need a new dice bag.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to get me one of them.
There you go, next weekend. Bang, got you, in New Jersey. This is my favorite one of the Squirrel series by a wide margin.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like you come out with one and it's awesome, then you come out with another one and it's like slightly more awesome, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, there hasn't been like a letdown where it's like, oh,
No.
that one's not as good as like the last one.
Yeah.
That sucks. And maybe this was the one that we saved for last because I think it's the best one. Also, everyone loves Dark Confidant. Like, who are we kidding?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite cards and also one of my least favorite cards because my opponent casts one. I'm just like, crap, that needs to die.
And it's a good card, so you don't often play with it.
Okay, I mean, that's true. But
Yeah. When was the last time? Flow Rock?
I won a pizza queue with Dark Confidant on my deck.
Flow Rock.
Flow Rock in Cleveland.
This was 10 years ago or whatever.
Circa 07.
Tom Lapille was still playing Magic.
That deck was really bad.
Troll Ascetic, Chrome Mox.
Troll Ascetic with the Numazawa Shite. Best of luck, opponents.
Yeah. How do you beat it?
Well, pretty easily. It's not that tough.
Well,
But, whatever. Back to the match we go, and we will watch Seth shuffle up here, and then he'll draw his openings, and he will be on the play. So we'll see what happens. The rock decks are so much better now than they used to be.
Yeah, you have Tarmogoyf instead of Ravenous Baloth or Spiritmonger.
You have Abrupt Decay. Did you know that PTQ I played Darkheart Sliver in my sideboard? On your recommendation. And it was good.
Story checks out, yeah.
And it was good.
I really appreciate that you added "and was good."
It was good.
Because otherwise I would have had to backpedal, defend myself a little bit, but yeah.
No, it was good.
Damage still stacked back then, yeah?
Yes. And, it just bought me some time against, the Zoo decks. 3 life was pretty important.
Yeah.
And Ravenous Baloth was too slow because the Zoo decks were too fast.
Yep.
So it was kind of sweet, actually.
Darkheart Sliver, man, we've come a long way.
Yeah. The removal spell, Putrefy, was, the best one you could play. And I had Profane Command in my deck, and that was an extended, and Profane Command was busted.
So you say.
It was good. It was good. Temple of Enlightenment is going to start things off here for Seth. We need a new command series.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Those cards were so sweet.
They are sweet.
We brought Charms back.
Anything with modes are awesome.
Just nothing as good as Cryptic, and we're okay, I think. Or make the good one not blue. That's also fine.
Sure.
Sacred Foundry here for Kemple.
1 of 4.
Yes. Sperling with his 3. A Plains and a Nyx Fleece Ram. This is a good place to start if you're Seth. Can we overcome Nyx Fleece Ram? I mean, now Kemple has to deal 25 points of damage.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah,
he doesn't have an answer right away.
And this is where something like Chain to the Rocks might be like, okay, maybe that should be in my deck. Because otherwise, this thing is going to block my Mutavault and, counter one of my spells.
Boros Charm's going to go upstairs, deals 4 damage to Manfield. Manfield's going to gain life, so he's going to go from 16 to 17. Nyx Fleece Ram is going to slowly but surely undo that Boros Charm. There's Azorius Guildgate. Seth will pass the turn back over to Kemple, who draws a copy of Warlord's Helix. That is a Mutavault. This is an attempt at Chandra's Phoenix, and that is a backbreaking Syncopate.
It's interesting to see Kemple try to bait out the Syncopate in game 1, and in this game he just made faces at the Boros Charm.
Is it time for maybe a Jace? No time like the present.
Yeah, it looks like it is. And this is exactly where Seth wants to be from the blue-white side. Just one of Kemple's best ways to win the matchup is by not letting Seth use his mana well. And by being more proactive and siding in things like Nyx Fleece Ram, it allows him to, play something on turn 2, play something on turn 3, play this Jace, and he's very much in the driver's seat. Although Chandra looks good too.
Chandra does look good. It's basically going to undo what the Ram does every turn, theoretically, the life gain. So, Seth will gain 1, Chandra will maybe continuously deal 1. And now Jace is going to tick down, so there's 2 Mutavaults and a copy of Last Breath. Kemple's creatures, that's tough to say. They probably get pretty bad after sideboard. Last Breath, Nyx Fleece Ram in the way, so the Mutavaults seem like they get much worse. Phoenix is probably okay just because it's in the air.
I mean, Seth isn't bringing in more removal. He is bringing in Rams and Fiendslayer Paladins, but all the Last Breaths are main deck.
Okay. Now, of course, Kemple's sideboard doesn't really lend itself to say, I'm going to board out my 8 creatures. There are options there to do that.
Yeah.
Those don't exist, so.
Chandra's Phoenix is really, really strong, and Young Pyromancer is also pretty good. It basically just demands an answer. The Elementals can not interact favorably with Jace, for example, but it basically does demand an answer, and I think that's good enough.
So the split is Last Breath versus the 2 Mutavaults. Manfield is in the tank here on what to take, and he's going to go with the Last Breath. So Mutavaults are going to go to the bottom. Seth has not played a land yet this turn, but he will play a Hallowed Fountain tapped.
Yeah, not only can Last Breath kill a Chandra's Phoenix, but if it comes down to, you know, the last few turns of the game where Kemple is trying to burn him out, he can use it on his own ramp to gain that 4 life.
Kemple drew a young Pyromaster for the turn. He's going to tick up. Manfield will take another 1.
Yeah, and I like this. It could be easy to say, like, oh, you know, I'll just 0 Chandra, draw a bunch of extra spells, blah, blah, blah. But, like, ticking it up and threatening the ultimate makes Seth have to react to it because that is potentially 12 damage.
This is an attack for 2 right into the face of Mutavault. Now, that Ram's going to try to block, but that's not happening.
Yeah. Thank you, Chandra.
Yep.
Doing work.
And Kemple is making this, and he saw him reach for his Mutavault. He's like, oh, you're going to kill this. I know that, and that's fine. And then I'm going to try to deploy my young Pyromaster, and then hopefully you don't have an answer for that, and
yeah,
then life
I mean,
will be good.
I see his plan. Try and bait out the Last Breath that he knows that Seth has, and
there's a Syncubate for 1. So, and this isn't that bad of an exchange either, I think, for Kemple, because that's 1 less counterspell for his burn spells.
right, yeah, it's really not that bad for him.
Seth will draw a card. Again, active Nyxleash Ram wants to make sure he doesn't forget any of those triggers as he does go up to 18, and then has that Jace out there. Let's see what he wants to do on this turn. Again, down a game right now is Manfield. See if the elevator goes up or down on Jace. You see he takes a look, says, if I go down, Chandra can take care of that. Let me get a better look at this thing.
Yeah, Chandra, definitely one of the Planeswalkers that you ultimate the least.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what does that thing do again? How much is it? It could be 7, it could be 8, you know, maybe you don't remember, right?
We see the 0 button a lot.
Yeah, exactly. People are just jamming that every time. And I think in burn, and especially in this matchup, like, threatening the ultimate is very good.
I mean, you're going to play a longer game anyway. Like, the game's not going to end quickly.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think there's a world where that happens. Unless, like, Seth takes, like, a bunch of mulligans and his draw falls apart. Like, I don't see a world where the game ends quickly. So Chandra actually building a pretty long advantage might be the way to go. Here's a rev for 3. Seth doing this with the shields down so he doesn't worry about Skull Crack. So he's going to go up to 21 here. We'll pass the turn back over to Kemple. So Kemple has free reign to do whatever he wants this turn.
Yeah, but is that good enough? Like, things look pretty good for Seth right now. I don't think that Kemple is out of the game by any stretch of the means. It's just interesting between, like, you know, maybe you could 0, try and hit a land. Maybe you could just sit back on burn spells, but I like what he's doing, just ticking up that Chandra.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a kind of a fan of just threatening the ultimate. I mean, if Seth doesn't find an intention sphere, he could be confident enough in Kemple as we do tick down. So here's a negate, there's a Mutavault, and that's a Hallowed Fountain, where he could say, all right, I'm going to go up to 8 down to 1 to keep this in play, instead of, like, hoping, okay, it's at 7, like you would with, like, a Domri.
Yeah.
Like, I got to 7, think it's on tap.
Yeah, you just fire it off immediately.
Yeah,
but
you're making the emblem before you even untap your cards.
yeah.
I don't know if that's how Kemple's going to want to use his Chandra this game. Negate's going to go to the grip. These are going to go to the bottom. Seth going to play a land. This is where he's Guildgate. And pass a turn back. So that Chandra's there. So do you go from 7 to 8, or do you fire off the ultimate now?
It's hard to say. I mean, I feel like you still need that consistent damage hitting Seth every turn because, A, you're outpacing the Ram, but you're only keeping Seth at 20, you know? So, like, you could, best case scenario, hit 12 damage worth of burn, but is that enough? And I don't think it is. So I think you tick up at least once, see what happens.
Phoenix is going to go after Jace. Kemple could have played another Phoenix, but he elected not to.
Yeah, it's tough to just walk into a potential detention sphere there, but you got to feel if Seth had it, he would probably use it on the Chandra.
Going to shock the Jace. Kemple knows he has negate. That'll get negated. Shrugs his shoulders, says that's fine.
Yeah, if I were Kemple, I would be super happy with a shock trading with a negate.
Yeah, I would be very pleased with these exchanges.
But just taking it up.
Yep. Manfield's going to go down to 19 temporarily, and I imagine go back up to 20, so long as he does remember his trigger. You know he did draw his card pretty quick there. So we see he does go up to 20 on our screen.
I have Steve Irwin. Steve
Now, one card that Seth, I believe, does have in his hand right now is Archangel Thune.
Okay.
But it looks like he's going to resolve a Rev right now for 4, so he's going to go up to 24.
Yeah, the shields are down, so you know, you got to think if you're Seth, like your Jace is getting shocked, that he just has another burn spell to finish it off. But if he does, and if you negate the first shock, that kind of like lulls him into tapping out to getting rid of Skullcrack mana to allow you to untap in Revelation. So, got to imagine that was like a very well-constructed play by Seth. You know, he did not like negate that shock on accident.
Mountain going to come into play here. Yep, this elevator goes down now.
Here we go.
This is my first Chandra ultimate on camera.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited.
Into 3 lands? Boros Charm,
okay,
that's it.
All right.
Yeah. Ooh,
Helix. Another Chandra, a Lightning Strike, and a Young Pyromancer. So Helix is the best you're going to do. Again, exile the top 10 cards of your library, choose an instant or sorcery card, and copy it 3 times. So you get to copy it 3 times. So you get to cast this 4 times. No, only 3. Only 3, excuse me.
Yeah, you exile the spell
Yep,
and copy
and
it.
you copy it 3 times. Got it. And it looks like it's all just going to the dome. I thought there was maybe a chance he goes towards the ram.
Yeah. Or at least, you know, one targets the ram and then you use like a lightning strike or something to finish it off, but
I just don't know how effective that is, though. Because Chandra is negating what the ram is doing.
yeah, that's true.
Kemple's at a healthy 40 now. Good on him. 40 to 12. Now here's a Phoenix. It's now here are the beatdowns.
Yep, take 2 more.
So down to 10, soon to be up to 11. It's really hard for me to say who's winning this game.
Gotta imagine like Seth with a brand new hand.
And Mutavault taking care of the Chandra.
Yeah. But I mean, how much damage has Kemple dealt this game? The ram's been in place since turn 2.
And now there's an Archangel. Kemple going to draw a card. He will play a Battlefield Forge. And now he's going to attempt to War Leader's Helix that. And that's a Dispel, and that might spell the end of the game.
Yeah,
and he's going to concede very, very quickly. Ram's going to trigger.
Yeah.
And so that's going to turn that into a 4-5, and then he's going to attack. That's going to turn into a 5-6. That's going to pump the Ram, and then it spirals out of control. Flock showed us that at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, don't forget the Ram can attack. Seth also has a Mutavault. Kemple's at 40. He could play on, certainly for a few more turns, but Manfield's life total is going to be well out of reach.
Game number 3 is where we're headed here between Christopher Kemple and Seth Manfield. Red, white, burn, and blue, white control. Very compelling stuff. Our backup feature match, actually, if we have time to go there, I'm not sure that we will, is actually a Jund Planeswalker's mirror.
Yeah.
Eric Smith is one of the players. Other player is unknown at this point. It sounds like they finished already, so if we can figure out who the winner is, we will let you guys know. But Eric Smith is having a really nice tournament with Jund Planeswalkers. Really, really good.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he is no stranger to that deck, much like Seth Manfield. And this format especially seems like very much a play what you know type of format, you know? Like, there are people like Brad Nelson who might be better off, you know, switching decks week to week, trying to prey on the metagame and do that. But there are also people who just play the same deck every week and continually do well.
Eric Smith did win. He's 8-0, so he is, I mean...
That's a soft lock.
As close to a lock as I think you're going to get.
Yeah.
So, if you're a fan of Jund Planeswalkers at home, you got one horse.
Or Goblin tokens.
Why?
His invitational Goblin token?
Right. Sorry.
I know everyone uses you instead, buddy. I know, but...
Yeah, I get slaughtered for everyone's pleasure on the battlefield. Can't wait till tomorrow where a Goblin that gets put on camera against True Name Nemesis again. My favorite part of the weekend.
Is that fun for you?
Yeah, it sure is. Every card they play is better than the entire deck. It's really cool, even the lands. Game number 3 here, going to be underway between Kemple and Manfield in just a moment. Plenty of time for these guys. We're going to work our way into 20 minutes in just a second here, but I think that things get very favorable for Seth after board.
Yeah, I mean, he just gets to lower his mana curve. He has a lot of cheap interaction. We saw both Nyx Fleece Ram and Dispel be very key in that game. Archangel of Thune, you know, did the heavy lifting, forced the concession, but was it necessary when Seth had 10 cards in his hand? Maybe not.
Probably not.
But it's a nice combo, Archangel plus Dispel.
I do like the way that Seth has used his Revelations in this matchup. like taking the opportunity when Skullcrack is down to resolve it. I'm sure he would like to resolve larger revelations, but resolving a revelation for 3 is undoing a lightning strike.
Right.
And so that's really all you can ask for, I think.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just using the cards you get off that baby revelation to feed into another one, you know, buy some more time, and then eventually you'll be able to like rev with the spell open to actually like counter a Skullcrack if Kemple starts keeping his mana open. But yeah, I mean, Seth navigated that game very well, and like to his credit, Kemple did too, but it was just like Seth had all the cheap answers. He had everything he needed.
Timely syncopates, negates, all of that stuff. Kemple tried to play into those cards to get them out of the way, and like he did that, and he got to Ultimate Chandra, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah, the Ram was there on turn 2, just doing a ton of work.
About time the Ram got a little respect.
I like the Ram.
It didn't get played very much at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's like the definition of a great sideboard card.
It is, but I mean, Burn was not really a deck, and now it is, and now Rabble Red is also a deck. It's also pretty good against green-white, as, you know, like you said, Flock showed in the finals of the Pro Tour.
I think Kemple's going to keep now. No.
Yeah.
Down to 6.
Yeah. I've had some weird experiences where someone looks at their hand, they're like, ugh, and then they just, like, peel 4 cards off the top or whatever, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I'm mulliganing. I didn't say it, but...
I'm keeping 11. Good luck. I'll play first, too, even though I'm on the draw. You have to show your dominance.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Seth Manfield is a 2-time Grand Prix champion. The first one...
Daytona.
No. I thought it was Kansas... no, Landale won Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seth is Daytona.
Seth is Daytona. That was Lorwyn Limited.
Yep.
And then the other one was somewhere with Birthing Pod.
Yes.
Some Midwestern-ish one.
Yes.
I forget, though. I
can't
wasn't there.
either. Yeah, I wasn't there either. I was watching from home. He beat Living End in the finals. That's it.
Okay.
So the man-child has 1 and 2 Grand Prix. He's been, ever since he came back, he went away to school for a little while, focused on his studies. I believe he's all done with that. And now he's just back to playing Magic, back to doing what he loves to do. There is no one, okay, I don't want to say no one, because then Chris Fennell would get mad. There are few people who like to side draft more than Seth Manfield.
Yep, that is certainly true. And we've seen a lot of that like fall by the wayside, but Seth is just like, come on, guys, let's draft. Let's draft.
There are a few people who like to draft more. Chris is one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone who likes to side draft more than Chris Fennell. I actually don't. He has a hat that says drafts on it.
Yeah, I know.
Which is annoying at best. But he does like to play limited, and he is one of the best limited players in the world. 6 cards for the Burn player. Let's see if Kemple can find 6 that he likes. I think he's happy enough. Game 3 is underway. It's a Temple of Triumph to get it started. That card is going to go to the bottom. And over to Seth we go. And one thing for Seth is he gets to actually keep a pretty wide range of hands, I think, after sideboard, because like his whole deck is basically good.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, you do need a certain amount of early interaction, and that helps a lot. I don't think Island Mutavault is the start that you want necessarily.
No.
But
this is a jet upstairs. That's going to resolve. So a little scry action here. You see a Temple of Triumph and a Mutavault. See if Kemple has any interest in keeping either of those cards. And it looks like he will keep Mutavault and put the Temple to the bottom. Time to untap and draw.
Yeah, Mutavault's not bad. Plus, he's working up to Chandra mana.
Foundry going to come into play untapped. Seth with another island, huh? It'd be a curious keep here for Manfield. No white mana yet. One could argue his white cards are the best ones.
Yeah.
There's an attempt at Chandra. I would be very surprised if this resolved.
So it looks like Seth just kept a hand that didn't have white, but had the cards that he wanted.
Yep. Does not have a 4th land either. Oh, dude, this is, I think, what needs to happen to win after sideboard for Chris, because I think the matchup gets really bad from after sideboard.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to see him win game 1, just like how the back and forth goes.
Yeah.
And I think he played game 1 very, very well, but I think that in order for Chris to win a sideboarded game, like Seth has to keep like a mediocre hand or mulligan a couple times. And it looks like he kept the mediocre hand. Chandra's Phoenix was the draw. And for Seth not to even have like a dissolve there, here's a Phoenix. That can't be syncopated now.
Yep.
Now here's Mutavault. Now we're coming into the red zone, and Kemple doesn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, like, do you want to trade Mutavault for Mutavault? I think Kemple's fine with that.
I think so too.
I mean, Seth does have 17 white sources in his deck, which is a lot.
Yeah, but, I mean, and you and I know this about Seth a lot. He doesn't mulligan.
That is true.
Like, he does not like to mulligan at all, ever. But I think this is a situation because the matchup is so good for you after sideboard. Like, the only way I feel like he's losing a sideboard a game is just, like, I can imagine him, like, coming up to his group of friends and be like, I lost last round. What happened? Well, I kept the hand with no white mana. I lost.
Yeah.
And they're like, why didn't you just mulligan? He's like, my hand was good. It's like, but your hand can still be good if you have 6 cards.
Right. Yeah, how many cards do you actually need? It's not about raw card advantage. It's about having specific things on time.
Now Chandra's up to 7, so it's threatening its ultimate the very next turn. Kemple's just going to pass the turn back pretty confidently. Manfield's going to draw a card. I think he bricked again, and now he's going to extend the hand, and Christopher Kemple is going to win this match over Seth Manfield 2-1, and red-white burn is 8-0.
That's very impressive.
A lesson I learned from you, among many, years ago, is that mulliganing is not like a negative.
No, you don't have to mulligan when your hand is bad. You get to mulligan.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Even if your hand is mediocre, you get to mulligan. It's a choice. And I think for Seth, and again, I've known Seth for a while, I know that he does not like to mulligan like at all. And he's just like, he's looking at his hand, he's like, I got like these awesome white cards, I got a couple of lands.
Yeah, got like a Ram, a Last Breath maybe.
The games take a while. And, I'll get some time and, I'll draw my white source, I'll play a Ram, maybe I'll Azorius Charm something, and then I'll be fine. And it's like, there's no guarantee, even though he has, I think you said 18 white sources?
17.
Or 17. There's no guarantee you're going to draw one.